It gets the people going.
Yeah, but Rand is very much like how I am with my brother.
Yeah.
Because did I tell you the time that my brother DM'd me because my phone was on the counter. He DM'd me.
Because he's like, I know you're
right. So my phone was on the counter. It's on silent. I'm not hearing it. He's texting me. So all of a sudden, I'm on Twitter's back, like peak Twitter.
Yeah.
And I all of a sudden I get a DM from my brother saying, pick up your phone. I know you're on Twitter. I was like,
smart man.
It's very smart, man. So that's like the same case with Rand. I'm like, you won't return my text, but I see you liking my tweets.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's typical of
Okay,
Mr. Rand. Hey. So yeah. Classic Rand. All right, you ready?
I am.
Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies, inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Big thanks to Empire Properties. And of course, thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. It is Thursday. It is just past 2:00, which means it's another Sleek Fleet OG Live. Check them out at sleek-fleet.com. Looks like our listeners are listening and supporting the corporate champions. Shout out to Steve.
Yes.
Who used Sleek Fleet to get home from the Blink 182 show. Awesome service. We love to see that, y'all.
Yes. Use Sleek Fleet to get home. Yeah. They were great. They are great.
They are great. They're
Check
fantastic.
Sleek-fleet.com. Tyler's got a couple of things going on. He's got another giveaway. He's into the giveaways, man.
Okay.
He likes to connect with you people.
Yeah,
he likes it when you reach out.
The Monster Jam last week, right?
Yes. So next Thursday, we'll be back here. No, he won't be here next Thursday. In 2 more weeks, he'll be here.
Okay.
He likes to check in.
Wait, in 2 more weeks, we're going to be out at Happy and Hale. Are we having a meeting?
Brought to you.
Are we having a meeting?
Oh, today's the 1st.
Today's
You're right.
the 1st.
I already turned the calendar. I was thinking next week was the 8th.
Yeah, next week. Yeah, next week is the 8th.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
All right. That
No,
is
we'll be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he'll be here.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
He was going to come today, but couldn't make it.
Got it.
Next week, he'll be here.
Got a little. Look, it's a confusing time, Joe.
Sleek-fleet.com.
It's a confusing time. I don't know what world famous all-time swimmers, what conference they were part of. So my brain's a little fried right now.
I mean, you don't, or you just like, who are these people that are surprised that the ACC claim?
I love
Katie Ledecky.
I love everything about this. One,
Yeah.
I love the stolen valor that the ACC is implementing throughout the Olympics with people from Stanford, Cal, and I guess SMU. And they have this hashtag, you got accomplished greatness, which is the doormat that leads to the studio. Hashtag Olympians made here. Because if there's one thing we know about the ACC, whereas the SEC is football, and the Big Ten is football, the ACC loves to talk about their Olympic sports as well. It's a big neighborhood, man, and we really love it. And that's cool. I'm not being facetious when I say this. It's what I like about the ACC. They're trying to be all inclusive. So I think it's hilarious that they have Olympic record, Ledecky bringing home the gold, Olympians made here. They got a graphic. They got Stanford on it, all that stuff, accomplished greatness. But here's the best part about this. It got community noted on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Readers added context they thought people might want to know. Ledecky graduated from Stanford in 2021 with a link to the Washington Post when Stanford was still in the Pac-12, with a link to our guy Swam, who tried to break some realignment news back in the day.
Yes.
With a Virginia swimming coach.
UNC.
Right. That whole thing. They're going to the Big Ten. So this got roasted. It's been viewed 2.4 million times or more than that. People were retweeting it and having a fantastic time with it. And you know what? Cool. I got no problem with it. Is Stanford a member of the ACC?
They are.
Okay, well then Katie Ledecky is an ACC legend. When Tiger Woods does something, I fully expect Tiger Woods to be an ACC legend. When we were in Charlotte last week and we saw that dude who looked just like Aaron Rodgers, well, why wouldn't Aaron Rodgers be walking around ACC Media Day?
I can't wait for him and Marshawn Lynch to be inducted as ACC legends in the same class.
I mean, it's not like Aaron Rodgers wants to be at Jets camp anyway, so of course he'd be in Charlotte talking about ACC moments.
I actually know who's going to be the first Cal ACC legend.
Who is it going to be?
The casino took it off the book.
Who is it?
Ron Rivera. Because it's in Charlotte. I bet you he moved back to Charlotte.
Okay.
Okay.
So it would be
That's
like
an easy
whole
play.
So it would be like a whole thing where like he's there, and
I think the others have a little bit too much pride to be ACC legends.
probably. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, with Ron and all, it's like more of a Charlotte thing. It's,
Yeah,
okay,
Ron
I'm
would be like,
here.
"Oh, it's at the touchdown club. Cool, you're my people."
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Love the ACC, man. Lean into it, man.
That's exactly right.
Lean forward, just like the consultants told the letters to lean forward in the new ACC logo. And we're not looking back on the old Pac-12. Katie Ledecky, ACC legend. Maybe she'll be a guest picker on game day one day for like a big Stanford game.
Are you okay with the Pac-12 still calling themselves the Pac-12? Because all numbers are ridiculous anyway.
That's the other thing too. What is real in college sports now?
Okay.
So why would I get upset that the ACC is claiming Katie Ledecky when the Pac-12 still refers to it as the Pac-12? The Big Ten has 25 teams in it, and the Big 12
has got
I don't
what,
even
20?
know. I don't even know, and they don't even want to be the Big 12.
No,
They want to keep the 12.
They're the Matt Davis 12.
They want to be insurance company 12, but you don't even have 12 teams. Matt Davis 12.
The one thing that bothers me about the Pac-12 is they were like the one conference that was always consistent.
That's true.
Because when they were formed, they were the Pac-8.
Yeah.
Then they went to the Pac-10.
They're going to be the Pac-20.
And then they kept the number actually accurate.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm having a hard time with them now being like, even though it was cool, Oregon State and Washington State getting together at a bar in Vegas, being like, drinks are on us. I did think that was cool.
I love that.
Just call yourself the Pac-2. Just stay with that accuracy.
One other Olympics note while I'm on the topic. Did you see my guy, Yosef DeCock? He's from Turkey. He was doing the pistol shooting. Have you seen the fits for pistol shooting?
No, I don't. I'm unfamiliar with pistol shooting. I'm familiar with the biathlon in the Winter Olympics.
No, this is you with a pistol at a target. And like right down to like nano bubbles worth of measurement.
At the risk of really being that guy, if we don't win in a gun competition, what are we doing?
Dude, you ain't the first one to make that joke.
What are we doing?
Not even with all the ROTC that we have in this country.
We're
still not winning. We're getting our ass kicked.
We're not sending our best, is what you're saying.
Apparently.
This is like soccer. Our best are using their guns for other reasons. I was going to say,
with as much as we love guns in this country, apparently you think we'd send Olympians who could hit a target. Apparently not.
No.
We're not good at that, apparently. But they got dudes like this, Yosef from Turkey. So on the left, you're watching on YouTube. On the left is Yosef. Shout out to the Yosef. We love the Joes on this program.
Yeah.
And then on the right is this other guy. The other guy is pretty much in line with what I've seen from all of the pistol shooting. And I mean, some of the fits have been Galaxy Con levels of cosplay. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw this character in Final Fantasy VII. Pretty sure in one of these Star Wars shows, this guy showed up and Obi-Wan said, you don't want these death sticks. You want to change your life. Okay. So the guy on the right is all decked out. He's got his like focusing Mr. Planter's monocle. He's got the headphones on. He's got all these
Cloud
things.
City.
Right. He does look like Lobot from Cloud City. You're right. And he's being told that, you keep altering the deal. What's happening? Anyway, the dude on the left, Yosef from Turkey, has none of that stuff. He just has glasses on. Which one actually meddled?
You're setting me up here. It's got to be Yosef.
Yosef meddled. He got a silver in this. And I'm looking at Yosef and I'm seeing the casual nature. He's got his hand in his pocket, pistol up. I'm thinking,
Alanis Morissette style there, man.
Dude, don't front. I've seen this in a Bourne movie. You're activated. That's what this is. At some point, you're going to like just turn around and look for Jason Bourne and you're supposed to take him down because you've been activated. That's what I see with that. I've seen this in movies. I see that dude real not. Actually, I just completed The Sopranos.
You did. What did you think?
I thought it was good.
The ending. What do you have a new interpretation of the ending?
Yeah, they killed him.
Well, I mean,
Tony's dead.
Retconning, yes, they kind of sort of had to.
Well, yes, I get that because James Gandolfini is no longer with us. But the way the setup works,
do you think it was?
Yeah, with the guy walking in, with everybody being off. Remember, New York is always the one that's in control, not New Jersey. I'm pretty sure with all the things that were going on, New York was making a play into North New Jersey. Okay. And they had a guy sitting by himself at the diner. He goes into the bathroom, an homage to The Godfather. I'm sure he got the gun out of the toilet, just like in The Godfather. And they come out with the whole family there. It's a wrap. And I'm pretty sure this dude from Turkey was the one who did it.
Love it.
Pretty sure that's the case. Anyway, I digress. ACC preseason rankings came out. ACC kickoff was last week. No real surprises here. Florida State got the most amount of first place votes with 81. Clemson got 55. Miami got 17. The Miami-NC State one I found interesting. I think this is yet a battle of nobody really wants to trust NC State, and yet everybody wants to trust Miami because they always follow through when they get preseason love. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech got 5. I'm not surprised that Virginia Tech got some you wouldn't be surprised if ... votes. Yeah. I think people are a little too ahead of schedule on the Hokies.
Yeah, I agree.
I want to know what's up with Georgia Tech.
This is an ongoing gag.
Yes.
It's the same guy every year.
Georgia Tech got a vote. Cal got 2. If you're going to vote for a new member.
Yeah, Smoo didn't get a vote.
They didn't get a single one. You didn't vote. And then Boston College got a vote. That also wasn't from you. Maybe big Bill O'Brien fan.
It would have been.
Maybe they heard our interview with Bill O'Brien and they loved his laugh.
I love it.
They're like, I'm just giving Bill O'Brien a vote. First place.
So what is the Miami premise? I know they have a new quarterback, but
it's all about Cam Ward.
Play FSU. Okay.
It's really what it's about.
I kind of their schedule. Again, you and I are in total concert on this.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, you were like, I'm not so sure about the schedule. Louisville, and then Louisville brought that thing home, and it was like, oh, yeah, going forward, the schedule is really going to be what determines these races, not just in the ACC, but now in the scrambled up SEC and Big Ten as well.
Wes Durham likes to bring this up all the time. There's going to be a team that people expect to finish atop the league that won't, or like in that top 5 grouping. And then there will be a team that will absolutely surprise. I think SMU is the team that is most positioned to surprise and move up and finish in that top 3, flirt with the idea of making the ACC championship.
I think it was our friend Al who said Carolina finally has a chance to live up to preseason expectations at 8. Yeah, like it was like a perfect number for them.
I really do think that's a perfect number for them. That is, if you're looking at North Carolina's overall, just how people view them,
sure,
and what they're capable of, finishing 8th in the league sounds about right. But they could also surprise too. Louisville's schedule is going to be difficult. Virginia Tech, I think, is a little too ahead of schedule. SMU, I think, is the one you and I both agree will surprise. And I think the problem with North Carolina really comes down to a conversation we've been having over the last couple of weeks. What is considered a good season for North Carolina? They could win 8 times. I think you mentioned it's empty calories as a potential.
Yeah, but I still think that would be a good season for them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. From Bull City coordinators on the YouTube comments, the Hokies have a nice schedule. No FSU. Don't play Clemson until 11-9. They get the Tigers at home.
Yeah, they do have a good schedule, but I don't think they have the necessary talent. Like, I think people, like you're saying, people are jumping ahead of schedule a little bit. They did play better at the end of the year last year when somehow they came to their senses and played the right quarterback who's mobile. But they're skill players. I don't believe in their skill players.
We got, what do we got? Montana, Carolina, NC State 2024 ACC football champs. No, not buying it. As Davis points out in the YouTube comments, nope, NC State shit is coming back. It's not coming back. It's dead. NC State shit is dead. It will remain dead. From James, going back to the pistol shooting on the YouTube comments, they need to recruit Eastern North Carolina a little bit more. A lot of talent out there.
Yep.
From, where's Paul? From Paul. I know an assassin when I see one.
Yeah.
That Turkish dude is an assassin.
He has a particular set of skills.
I'm telling you, man. I saw that picture all casual, and I just thought to myself, yeah, I saw that in a Bourne movie one time. So, yeah, I feel like, getting back to the ACC football thing and seeing the preseason schedule or seeing the preseason picks, all that stuff makes sense. I do think that SMU will be the team that surprises this upcoming year before we move on to housekeeping.
Yeah, define surprise, though, because I look at it and I think we're all in agreement. SMU has a lot of talent. They have a coach who's familiar with this league. They have players, a lot of them who came from Miami with their coach, who used to be the OC at Miami. So I don't know, like if SMU went 9-3, would that surprise you? No,
would not surprise.
I think the real surprise for this year is Syracuse. I think that's the real surprise this year.
Okay.
You and I couldn't name their coach for $1 million payday. They have a transfer from Ohio State as their quarterback. Like, what world are we living in? Right? Like, if you think about it, all of the high-profile transfer quarterbacks, save for the Kansas State kid who went to Ohio State, are in the ACC. And they're at very unusual schools. Syracuse, Duke, and NC State. That's kind of weird if you think about it.
I'm with you on that.
So Syracuse's schedule is completely devoid of everyone. Like, if you would have sat down in 2004 or whatever and said to Syracuse, here's going to be Syracuse's ACC schedule, you'd be like, They're playing. Who? I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. Well, surely they'll trip up against Clem. No, don't play 'em. How about Florida State? No. Did they play Miami? I'm not. I don't need to play them either. No. Syracuse truly has the easiest schedule of all the teams. I think that's the one team. And you and I have seen this a million times. You get that first year bump from a coach who can just show that he ties his shoes a little bit.
That's true.
You get a little bit of energy. They also play up in that sweaty dome up there where it's like always hot, and you're like, what the hell? Why? It's named for an air conditioner.
Not anymore.
I think they fixed it too.
Not anymore. And maybe they did finally fix it once they got rid of the HVAC company. I can never make any sense. That's very go ACC. That's like saying Kenny Ledecky is an ACC legend. Give me more.
Housekeeping.
Brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online. ENOVANA.com. Green Cleaning Solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, you get it clean with Enovana.
We've got the podcast festival coming up on August 24th. It is August 1st, folks. That means we have football tonight, which we'll get to a little bit later on.
I thought we were doing the
that's right.
cat of the month.
We got to see what
Still
my
haven't
cat of the
slipped.
month is.
Yeah. Because we got Burns on the Canes side.
What do we got here? Let's unveil the new cat. I mean, the July cat was adorable. What do we got for who doesn't love kittens in a suitcase?
Oh!
Ladies and gentlemen, kittens in a suitcase? I love this.
I think it's a briefcase, but
or a briefcase.
Yeah.
When somebody says you keep that thang on you, yes, I do. I do keep that thang on me. Multiple thangs on me. Anyway, I'll put this up a little bit later on. We got the podcast festival. The Demetri Ravanos is here, and we're going to talk about more about the podcast festival in a second. Plus, very exciting OG Triangle Media news, ladies and gentlemen. We are nothing but scramblers and procrastinators. We're finally getting around to stuff. I mean, it's true to form, folks. So don't procrastinate on the podcast festival, though. Go get your tickets today.
tickets are going fast.
They are. They move every single time we mention it. So go to therialto.com and get your tickets today. It's brought to you by Breeze Through, our presenting sponsor. Check them out, breezethrough.com. You can save money on gas when you download that 76 app, and you can get gas station beers. Kittens in a suitcase, gas station beers. That sounds like a good Friday night to me.
Peanut butter and jelly. There we go.
Hey, man, we're all good on that one. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority, bugsbite.com. It is gross outside. We've had a lot of rain. The grass is shooting up. The mosquitoes are likely active. Don't sleep on Mosquito Authority. And also don't sleep on getting your house figured out when it comes to those ants.
Dude, ants. I had an ant crisis earlier this week.
Not great.
Mosquito Authority out at the house taking care of it with the gel.
Yeah, the gel.
Familiar with the gel?
I'm familiar with the gel.
I didn't know the gel was a thing until this week.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ant solutions. I've seen the gel. It tends to work. Big thanks to longleafswine.com as well. Speaking of things that tend to work, all their food tends to work. It's delicious every single time. The burgers, the specials, they're always changing up the menu and bringing you new stuff. And I get it. Barbecue, the brisket's always great, but it might just be the best burger in town. There's only one way to find out. That's to go to Longleaf. We're going to be at Longleaf later in August, correct?
Well, I'll be there.
You'll be there.
I'll August 29th. It's a Thursday. You'll have your green jacket on as the team manager of the Carolina Hurricane Junior Canes. We need a name for your team. So
it's just the 13U white team.
13U white.
13U
white. Why do they have to be white, Joe?
It's black, red. I know. Trust me. It's black, red, white. 13. It's 13U white and that half Cuban kid. That's where we're going to be on the 13U white squad. Anyway, check out longleafswine.com. Joining us in studio is Demetri Ravanos. What up, man?
Howdy, buddy. How are you?
Do you like those kitties in a suitcase?
I do. Those are some good looking cats.
Yeah. I like how you cleaned it up for us there. Podcast festival.
I'm very proud to report today that how many tickets have we sold?
I don't know.
311. We're all mixed up. Don't know what to do.
Man, amber is the color of my energy right now. Love that we've sold that many tickets so far.
I didn't even think about this until I got a text from Jason Kirk of the Full Cast. Just wanted to get an update. And I said, we've sold 311 out of 400 so far. And he just texted back, I hope we don't sell a single other one. It's like, you know what? Fair point.
I'm down for us to sell more tickets.
That song, best opening line of a song ever. Chill. That's it.
That's all. Yeah.
And then we go on to line two.
We just walked into Demetri's kitchen.
I
90s.
know. I know. We are absolutely in your kitchen.
Absolutely.
Is it time yet for the nonsense?
What nonsense?
Did you tell him I'm like dedicated now since every morning show in the history of radio?
Oh, well, we are doing a Demetri's binder of radio bits.
Okay.
So, yes, Joe has. It finally took Joe.
Yeah.
After several years of being on this side of the business, 3 years in radio, 1+ year in doing the podcast, that he finally figured out that every morning show in America is essentially the same.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
1000%.
And there's actually a morning show boot camp that's taking place this week.
Oh, I don't
think
know.
it's this week in San Diego. The life coach, very, very big deal at this morning show boot camp.
Really?
And they go, he's going.
Oh,
and they go, they trade like, hey, what works in your market? This works in my market. We just have to like rename it, and we're good to go.
Wait, which life coach are we talking about? The one that fired you or the referee?
The referee.
Oh, I never thought of him as a life coach.
Yeah, the one we like.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, of
No,
course.
he's the real life coach.
You know what's funny is back in my rock radio days, you know who told me to never go to morning show boot camp?
Him.
The life coach.
Never mind, I'm making money off of it. Don't go.
You know why? Because you'll end up with a Tell Me Something Good segment.
Right. So
I absolutely want to Tell Me Something Good segment for
he's
this
like,
program.
what, you're listening to Bobby Bones, and there's like,
No,
wait a
but
minute.
I attribute it to Bobby Bones. I'm sure he didn't come up with it.
Yeah.
No.
But
John Tesh used to do that.
96 has one, and 100.7 has one.
Did he ever?
Or maybe
pitch y'all?
it was 105.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Did he ever pitch y'all on marriage report card?
No.
Where you call your wife each week, and on air she gives you a grade in various categories.
There used to be a. He's no longer with us, but there used to be a husband-wife morning show duo that would do it live on the air.
Oh well,
the two of them live on the air, so that was always entertaining. But anyway, before we get into some radio bits, because I know you've got something from your binder of radio bits, let's talk about what I theoretically think we agreed we're going to technically launch next week.
Next week, people will be able to sign up for our premium content.
Excellent.
And I'm not talking about like, hey, you will get an extra episode of Ovies and Giglio. You will.
Yes.
But you will also get a podcast from Joe and I talking about the business every other week we decide?
Every 2 weeks.
Is Ron Cherry's giving them the business the name of the podcast?
No, it's just OG stands on business.
I think we eliminate stands. It's just OG on business. But I do like giving them the business. OG giving them the business.
You know what? It's not too late to change the name.
Listen,
so we haven't technically launched it yet.
Until Anna puts the graphic together.
That's right. That's when it's fine.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a lot of different podcasts.
Yeah, we'll have you and Brownlow doing the Panic Room. My understanding, and Giglio, correct me if I'm wrong, is this is where you will be writing about the Wolfpack and the ACC and all things college football from now on.
Yes, sir.
And basketball as well.
Yeah.
Plus, we've got Tom Edwards, who's going to write for us about the Canes. Lauren Brownlow is going to write about the Panthers and about pop culture in general. You will get something every single day. And because when somebody is looking to monetize the best parts of themselves, they go to OnlyFans.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Right. We can't do that because OnlyFans does not have a podcast platform.
That's true.
So, ladies and gentlemen, next week, you will be able to sign up for OG Fans. It's the name of our premium content offering.
Yes. OG Fans. So you'll get a newsletter.
Yeah.
You will get premium podcasts, including a mailbag episode of us. That'll be exclusive for subscribers. The beauty of the mailbag episode is that it goes beyond just your typical Hey Joe. Because you're like, what's the difference between this and Hey Joe? Well, the difference is that you are literally dictating the content of that episode based on your mailbag questions. It'll give us a little bit more time to think about it rather than the Hey Joe immediate reaction to XYZ. So that's what that mailbag episode is about. Apparently, y'all keep wanting the Panic Room back. I've been told this. So, cool. Time to put your money where your mouth is as it relates to having me and Brownlow talk about some ACC stuff the morning after. So we're going to be doing that. Again, that'll be a podcast only thing. And of course, Law of the Wolf will be moving over to the premium side as well.
Yeah, I only didn't mention that because I wanted to confirm it with Giglio before that was a go.
We're literally having a meeting
Hit
right
the
now.
button.
Yeah.
I did.
So it's going to be, do you want to just roll out price stuff right now as well? Just to
Yeah,
give
let's
people
roll it out.
Okay. So we are not doing this in tiers. We are giving you one offer, and that is $13 a month. You get all this stuff. Now, why 13? We'll be honest with you. We want $10 a month, and our hosting service needs 3 a month. So that's why we're there. We also have a year option, which is going to give you a month free. So basically, you pay for 11, you get 12. And then, Giglio, you will like this. If people want to give us $7,000 up front.
Well, there's one more tier. We have the hats and the tote.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, we got the hats and the
So
tote
I hadn't said anything about that yet because we haven't
nailed down the price on that. But there's
not
gonna
only
be another tier that's like a founders club that
And
you
in
get
fact-
a different hat.
Yeah, in
and a
fact,
tote.
next Wednesday, before we launch this on
Yeah.
Thursday, I'll pop on. I'll tell you what that founders tier price, what exactly it is, all that kind of stuff.
All right, now
But-
Calvin. No,
No,
you're
Calvin.
confused.
No, you're confused, Calvin. Guess it's time for the poor folks to find another place like me. No. This podcast is not going away.
This podcast is not going away.
This is just an addition
And
to.
yeah, this is
Right.
extra.
The
Those who want
919
extra.
Vice, not going away.
That's not going away.
This team is killing us, not going away.
Yeah.
We are just look, you said it's time for the poor folks to find another podcast. Well, it's time for the poor folks to start making a little more money too. It's another way to look at
We
this.
got a living to make, y'all.
Right. All right, Giglio, you
Panic
will
room
really
back.
enjoy this.
Let's go. Yes, Sean.
Okay. $7,000.
Okay.
I'm going to give you OG fans for the rest of your life.
Ooh, a
Yeah.
lifetime
Lifetime
membership.
I'm
rights.
going to give you
Lifetime
a
rights.
year
Yes.
of free tickets to whatever it is we do in the future.
Yeah.
Because Podcast Festival is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And Giglio, your partner,
Oh, yes.
Joe Ovies,
I know where this is going.
is literally going to take you to Disneyland.
You're going too, Joe.
No.
We're not kidding.
There is not
No, we're not
a
kidding.
single fucking chance. I am going with you to Disneyland, Disney World. Not a chance.
Joe, if you don't come with us, who will hold our balloons as we walk
Yeah,
down
come
Main
on. We
Street?
need somebody to take pictures.
Who will hold our balloons while we get on It's a Small World?
Come on now.
But no, I'm not kidding.
This is not a joke.
$7,000.
$7,000.
You will go with Joe Ovies to
price
Disneyland.
point.
What's that?
It's an interesting price point.
Well,
It's like a poker bet that you don't want someone to call.
well,
I feel like 5, maybe you could get it
no,
done.
but here's the thing. Do you know how much it costs to go to
Right,
Disneyland?
exactly.
No, yeah,
That's
why.
the thing.
Exactly.
That's why it's
$7
going in my
grand.
The
orbit.
key to the $7,000 is I would like $5,000.
Paul wants to know: do we have to pay that $7,000 up front, or can we do it in
Ooh.
installments? I don't know. We
Something
got
to
to
consider.
negotiate.
I need to talk to our hosting platform
About
because
how that works.
yeah, they were pretty
Something to
confident that you
consider.
could only do it up front. But you know what? They like us seem to be a fly by the seat of your pants company.
So we'll have some more details on this. Have we flipped over OGTriangleMedia.com yet?
Not yet, because I don't want anything going up that people can't actually sign up for.
Gotcha.
yet.
All right. So be on the lookout for that. Next week we'll have some more details. We just wanted to. People have been asking a newsletter. You guys have been talking about premium podcasts, and yeah, we totally get it. But if there's one thing that we've all talked about, if we're going to do it, we want to make sure that we're doing things that make sense for us and obviously make sense for the audience. And I think what we're trying to offer meets those things, and we'll go from there. And of course, we can always add more down the line. I know there's demand for women's college basketball coverage. There's ways to incorporate that going into the future. But as with the podcast, and we kind of learn little by little as we go, and y'all get to be part of that. I mean, you're watching it all unfold in real time when we do these podcasts like this. The same goes for this newsletter and premium podcast option as well. So I'm excited about it. I know we've been talking about it since we started up this entire thing. And it's just about making sure we do it right and timing it right too, because start of the football season is the perfect time to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, Joe and I were really getting serious about this thing right at the end of the NCAA tournament. And it dawned on us, like, why would we do this now? Why not just wait till football season?
Just wait.
So we stopped being serious about it for a while.
Let's we got the podcast festival to worry about too. So all those things are going on. All right. We got Luke DeCock of the Columnist News and Observer is going to join us here in a little bit. Before we say goodbye to Demetri, I feel like we have to ask you two things.
Yes.
One is related to the binder of radio bits. The other is I saw the news where Paul Feinbaum re-upped with ESPN.
Yes.
Are you interested, since Paul Feinbaum will continue to be the Paul Feinbaum of the SEC, are you interested in being the Paul Feinbaum of the ACC?
Gentlemen, can I break some news on your show?
By all means.
You want to break news on the OG?
I don't know why. I don't know why. Paul invited me to lunch next week.
Really?
So perhaps we're franchising. That's all I can assume.
Something to think about. Tell Paul I said hi. I know he's a big fan of mine.
I certainly will.
I know Paul's like, is that Ovies guy? Oh, he's pointing out correct things. Damn it. Okay.
Paul has pointed out to me one time that it is ironic that we are friends, considering most of my other friends hate his guts.
Sometimes you find common ground.
It's like, yeah. It's like I tell people all the time. Jason Witten is the worst, or not Jason Witten. I'm sorry. Jason Whitlock is the worst human being on earth, but he gave me a ride to the airport once. So who am I to complain?
That was your experience with Jason Whitlock.
Yes, exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
So your connection to Paul Feinbaum was he was like on the radio like while you were in school, or
well, I mean, while I was in college is before he sort of took off.
Okay.
But we really got to know each other while I was working for Barrett Sports Media, and I was just really pounding the table for, everything you guys think about Mike and the Mad Dog up in the Northeast is what this guy was in the South.
Yeah. And you're right. Yeah. No, there's no denying Paul's impact on Southern Sports Talk Radio, not Southern Fried Football.
No, that's true.
That's another thing. Shout out to Mark Packer. All right. What's in your binder of radio bits, Demetri?
Gentlemen, history made earlier this week as Eric Staal signs a one-day contract to retire as a Carolina Hurricane. And so I thought it would be fun to look back at Eric Staal's career earnings today.
Okay.
All right. It's a little game that we used to play on 96 Rock back in my rock radio days called The Gas Price is Right. And what I will do
is such a morning show bit.
Oh, listen, the life coach, when I was telling him, hey, yeah, this is this dumb thing we're doing, he just asked me, he said, you haven't filed copyright or anything like that on it, have you? I was like, no, I don't care if other people do it. He goes, okay, because I've got a meeting in San Antonio next week.
See, there's no new ideas. No new ideas. All right, so what do we got?
All right, so I will give you a denomination of gas, a certain amount of gas at a particular triangle gas station, and I will give you a year in Eric Staal's career. And you tell me, was his salary more that year, or will the amount of gas at this particular station cost you more?
Okay.
Does that make sense? You
meaning
just tell me
his
which
salary
one
was
is higher.
in millions?
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Number one, we'll start with you, Giglio.
Okay.
1.3 million gallons at the BP on the corner of Westinghouse and Capitol across from Taco Bell, or Eric Staal's 2006 salary when the Canes won the Stanley Cup. And by the way, the years will be this would be the year before they won the Stanley Cup. Sorry, because the years will be the year it was when the season began.
Gotcha.
Well, it's definitely the gas if it's truly the year before because there was a lockout.
That is correct. It is. I didn't think about that.
But it was also on his rookie deal.
Right.
So he would not have made, you said 1 million gallons, probably at $2 a gallon.
So 309 per gallon at that gas station. He actually did pretty well that year. This would be, I was incorrect. This would be the year after they won the cup.
7.
His salary that year was $4 million.
Okay.
So the gas is higher by $17,000.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Got it.
All right.
Got it.
All right. Joe Ovies.
Yes.
975,000 gallons of gas at the 76 station in South Durham on Highway 55, next door to Waffle House.
Okay.
For those of you in Durham, you may know they share a parking lot.
Yes.
Or
Most ridiculous one you've done here. And I thought the tall Bryce Young's. How many Bryce Young's was good? This is so fucking ridiculous. And the crazy part about it is I know you did it on the air.
And it worked.
My brain is twisted and nuts.
Giglio, you are acting like people did not wait on hold to win a copy of Gridiron Gang on DVD to play this game.
The power of a free DVD.
Absolutely.
The power.
Okay. 975,000 gallons at the 76 station in South Durham on Highway 55 next door to Waffle House. Or Eric Staal's salary for the 2016 season, his first full season not in a Canes jersey.
Okay, yeah. So his contract expired with the Canes. They shipped him off to New York. I'm going to go with the gas total was more than Stahl's reworked deal.
So $3.59 a gallon at
starchy.
that station.
Ooh.
And yes, the contract was reworked that year. Staal in his first year with the Minnesota Wild made only $3.5 million. The gas wins out by just $250.
Oh, wow.
All right. Giglio.
Okay.
2.5 million gallons.
Wow.
At the Sheets on NC 86 in Hillsborough, right in front of Hillsborough Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Orange County's Jeep Dodge Ram solution.
Yes. Shout out to Heaster.
Or Eric Stahl's 2015 salary, the largest amount he earned in a single season.
2015, so he's with the Wild by this point?
2015 would be the year that he started with the Canes and was traded to the Rangers.
Oh,
last
year,
last
of his like super extended deal.
Yep.
Well, it's got to be Eric Staal then, no?
It is Eric Staal by $775,000. He got $9.5 million
That year?
That year. Yep.
Wow, I didn't know he tapped out at that. That's a lot.
So he got 8.3 from the Canes and just 1.2 from the New York Rangers. Just real quick, gas at that station, $3.49 per gallon.
All right. We have one more?
One more.
All right, one
last
more, then we got to go.
Okay. 2 million gallons at the Exxon on Falls of Deuce in Wake Forest between McDonald's and the Riptide Car Wash.
Okay.
All right.
I think I've used that car wash, but okay.
Or Eric Stahl's 2012 salary, the year his brother Jordan joined him in Carolina.
Ooh, I think that was like the start of that deal. So I want to go with Eric Stahl's salary.
Oh, you are incorrect. Eric Staal made nearly $5 million that year. I mean, that was a
considerable amount of money.
4.975 million, but at $3.29 a gallon, 2 million gallons of gas comes in at over 1.6 million more than that single year's paycheck.
You know what they should have done is just gone to the breeze through and downloaded the 76 app. And it would have saved them a whole lot of money.
Agreed. I floated this to Joe one time, and he said, "Oh, make sure you do all breeze through stations." And it dawned to me like, "No, we're going to make breeze through look really good by comparison."
That's right.
We're going to save so much money.
money.
All right, Demetri, thanks, man. We'll have more details on that newsletter stuff in the coming next week and all that stuff, and we'll revisit next week.
Go sell those final 89 tickets.
Yes, do it. And also, folks, quailridgebooks.com for the event with me and Jason Kirk the next day.
Always enjoy hanging out with Demetri. Always enjoy hanging out at Nature's Relief Hemp Store. They're just a good vibe. They got good people. They're going to answer your questions related to THC products, Delta 8, Delta 9, you name it. We got it at naturesreliefhempstore.com. So check them out. Nature's Relief, RELEAF hempstore.com. Also, big thanks to the Butcher's Market for sponsoring us as a corporate champion. Kenneth was the real MVP on Sunday at the OG Summer Jam, and you can check them out at thebutchersmarkets.com. Get those steak tips, get the pre-made meals. We're at the end of the summer. We got cookouts going on. You're hanging out at the pool. They got all that stuff for you. Again, check them out, thebutchersmarkets.com. And I don't know, you want to bring home some new stuff? You go to Two Roosters. It's a new month. We got kittens in a suitcase. And we got new ice cream in the freezer, Joe. So we got a quick rundown here.
We do Earl Grey lemon cookie dough was the one I was trying to explain to you yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
The big cookie month. Peanut butter cookie, peach and blue corn cookie, and brookie, which is vanilla with chunks of brownies, cookie dough, and Oreos.
Oh, I'm hyped for that.
Yeah.
I'll be getting that this weekend.
Yeah.
Check it out, tworoosters.com. Joining us on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline from PNC Arena because nobody loves a Centennial Authority meeting quite like columnist for the News and Observer, Luke DeCock. Luke, what's going on, man?
I'm in my spot, man. I feel like it's the Hurricane just scored 3 goals in the last minute to beat the Islanders or something. I'm down in the press room, and unlike usual, there's not some MSG cameraman telling me to get out of his shot. So we're in good shit.
So what did we learn today other than Don Waddell making a return to the building to talk about the Centennial Authority?
The prodigal son. Don showed up, said hello to everybody, left. Very, very amusing. Very Don Waddell, not returning my texts. So basically, we've over the last decade, if you've been paying attention, the Centennial Authority has been getting concepts from its architects for what the building would look like if they renovated. Like I've sat through 11 of these presentations since 2014. But then Pete Carmanos ran out of money and was selling the team and it got delayed. And then the pandemic came along and it got delayed. Now they've got $300 million burning a hole in their pocket. And they saw the presentation from their architects today of what they can do with that $300 million. And so some of it is behind the scenes stuff like expanding a loading dock that's way too small for big concerts. Has to be done. Some of it is the kind of stuff people want to see. They're talking about replacing the 317, 318, 319 sections with a bar overlooking the arena. That's cool. They're talking about putting in suites under the stands at the south end. That's cool. They're talking about taking out a bunch of the staircases on the concourses and replacing that with bars and replacing a lot of the traditional walk up to the counter concession stands with grab and go markets, all the things people want. And they're talking about a beer garden on the front of the building at ground level facing Carter Finley. That would be open on non-event days. So that would be an indoor-outdoor space. And there are three options for dealing with the lobby, the south end of the building. One of which is by far the coolest, involves expanding the building out toward Carter Finley and making that lobby run the height of the building. So it'd be this huge glass lobby, lit escalators, be like the Islanders building, it'd be like walking into a train station. It'd be very cool. It's all very cool. And there's other little things too, more bathrooms, more women's rooms, nursing rooms, all the kind of things people want to see in a building in 2024. The media area gets moved. So I have some concerns about that I've expressed to the authority during the public comment portion. But mostly it's the kind of stuff people want to see in it. The architects, hey,
who's left,
Right, those windmills, Luke.
Who's left? It's like just like it's a handful of us.
The space I'm sitting in becomes a club. Just so you know.
Okay.
All right. At any rate, the architects
if they want to give us a permanent space in the beer garden to do our work, I mean, I'm cool with that.
Either way.
No, I mean there is a smaller media. It'll be fine.
Okay.
The press box is going to be untouched, so it's still going to be like party like it's 1999.
There we go.
All right. All those intermission dogs, bring them back.
Bring them back. The cookies that the TV guys used to eat before anyone got up there. So anyway, the point is, the architects went into this knowing they had $300 million to spend. So this should be scaled to what the authority can spend or is able to spend. But the test now is to actually sit down with the contractor and the consultants and price all this stuff out and see how much of it they can do for the $300 million. That clearly everybody, most of the members I talk to think the quote unquote large option on the south end, there's pictures on my Twitter feed. It's this gorgeous open glass lit from inside panorama overlooking Carter Finley, with sort of an LED lighting, sort of wooden fence around the top of the building, a reskin that looks really nice and would have sort of changeable LED colors because it is the 21st century. And that's great. I think most authority members want to do that if they can afford it. So it's just a question of can they make this work? And the authority has a pretty good history of stretching a dollar. But this is what it's not as ambitious as it could have been. There are some things missing that were in previous sort of presentations like this. At one point, there was a rooftop bar overlooking Carter Finley.
Right.
And there were more suites under the stands like they have in Toronto and Long Island. A lot of that stuff kind of fell by the wayside. So they are clearly paying attention to the budget. And they already dropped the idea for building an office building on the north end to free up office space. So this new proposal kind of says, instead of moving the offices, let's just build the building out in front of them and give us more space that way. So it's really interesting. And there's not a lot of time. They want to start construction on the loading dock stuff next summer during the off season.
Okay.
You got to get moving now. So the pressure's on them now. They know what they're looking at. Now they got to figure out, can they afford it? And can they get it done?
You wrote about Eric Staal. And as I was reading that column, and as Joe and I were talking about it yesterday, just in general, what Eric Staal meant to the Carolina Hurricanes, I feel like, and again, it could just be me. I could be completely off base with this, but I do feel like the Eric Staal time is being memory holed to a certain extent. And I can understand why some of that is getting memory hold. Sure. 2006 has become Rod Brind'Amour's iconic Canes moment that's now baked into what he is doing with the team as a head coach and the culture they have. Makes total sense. And then Staal is part of the very not good time with poor coaching and, as you mentioned, Karmanos earlier, running out of money and a lot of missed playoff appearances outside of 2009. And it's not that Eric's ability is in question, where he is in the record books. I mean, that stands for itself. But I do find it kind of strange that we don't necessarily talk about Eric Staal a lot when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes. And I think it's good that the Canes are retiring his number and having an opportunity to reevaluate Staal's role with the Canes beyond being part of that 2006 Stanley Cup squad.
I had a long conversation with Eric Cole the other night about this specific part of it. Did Eric Staal take a disproportionate amount of the blame for what went wrong, really from 2011 on? They should have made the playoffs in 2011. Colsey said that was the toughest one of his career because he knew he was done with the Hurricanes, and they should have made it, and they just need to win one game that last week to get in. There was inevitably, I do think there is some fair criticism for Eric Staal. I don't know he could have done anything about it, that the culture slipped. And that even as bad as the coaches were and as terrible as the team were, I mean, you look at those teams in 15, 16, 17, that team was a line and a pairing and a goalie short of being an NHL team. Like they were a full level of the depth chart short of being an NHL team. Mm-hmm. And, and up until he left in 16, he was sort of charged with dragging that along through the season. And I know there were times where he was unhappy with the direction of the team, and he's a Staal. He's kind of sort of soldiers through. But I do think there was some slippage of the culture there, which you could see kind of the year after he left when they didn't have a captain, and then the co-captains. I think whether he was just unable to it or it was nobody could have. There was that sort of lack of accountability in those years, and I think he kind of got sucked into that a little bit. That said, when you look back at those years, if Rod Brindamore had been the captain, if Mark Messier Leadership Award had been the captain, we would be having the same conversation about it now, because those teams were terrible and it was inhuman to try to drag those teams forward. So I think probably, yes, did the culture slip a little bit on his watch? Was there anything he could have done about it? I don't know. Maybe he could have, but those teams were terrible. He got dragged along with them. Mm-hmm. And we forget because of that. Because, I mean, there's a whole generation of Hurricanes fans who were awakened by the Stanley Cup, lived through 2009 and the great goals Eric Staal scored, lived through the All-Star game in 2011, which is arguably the high point of the franchise in terms of its growth, and then went
nothing
a decade without seeing playoff hockey. And just like I got fans hated when I said that the Hurricanes were terrible and cheap and all these things. I was 100% right. They were selling an unwatchable product to people who needed some sort of cognitive dissonance to tell themselves that they were watching something worth paying for, which is how we ended up with the cult of warrior poet Alex Semin. Because people had to convince themselves that this guy was trying or good or any of that. So I get it.
You don't get it. You're not seeing what I see. And that's a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome that occurs. And I'm thinking about the low point. I don't remember the year, but I always associate the low point of that Karmanos era when Peter Karmanos did that awkward interview with
Johnny in New York.
Yeah. And
what would you say to fans who are tired of being told to be patient? I would say you have to be even more patient.
And then John hit him with
poor Johnny.
And I forgot what the question John asked was, and Peter Karmanos' response was, I guess. And it was like, what is happening right now? This guy's completely checked out. And that's why, to your point about Staal and culture and leadership, there's only so much you can do when the top of the top isn't really giving you a lot to work with. And now that ship has sailed, and the new generation of Canes fans that have come up and like this era of it, they like the culture that Rod has placed in there with Tom Dundon and everything else. Yeah, it's just this weird kind of gap in the history that I get why people don't want to talk about it, but it kind of diminishes what Staal was for the team as the first front-facing person for the Canes that got national people to talk about the Canes.
Yeah, he was their first real homegrown star.
Yeah.
And there's a picture in the article, you tweeted out the link earlier, that I remember from a story I did in the spring of 04 about how they were trying to make Eric Staal a star, and he wasn't yet. And in fact, the spring of 04, he played 28 minutes or 29 minutes against Detroit one night and was just a zombie for the rest of the year. But there's a picture in that article, if you click on the link, that shows him signing 4,000 pucks after practice one day. And that's what they were putting this kid through to try to make him a star. To your point earlier, the memory holing, those last years were so bad, and he became the sort of poster boy, unfairly, for the Hurricanes' incompetence. He was placed in a very difficult position. I mean, Kirk Muller, Bill Peters, Ron Francis as the undead zombie GM. It was difficult, but because of that, and this is basically what I wrote and tweeted, people forget how freaking good he was in 06. He was good enough to play for the Canadian Olympic team in 06. And if they didn't have a long line of shit hot rocket aces, he would have made it. He was that good. He was as dominant a player as there was in the league. He was as good in transition as there was in the league. His shot was as good as any player in the league. He was as good holding the puck in the corner as any player in the league. He was a big reason why Eric Cole was on his way to 50 goals because of the way they played together. It was unbelievable. 100 points. No one's done it, right? And then the playoffs, leading scorer in the postseason, and was at best fourth choice for the Conn Smythe Trophy because you had the Edmonton guys pushing Chris Pronger when they were down 3-1.
Right.
The dialogue was, should Chris Pronger be the Conn Smythe Trophy winner? Yeah. Cam Ward wins it because they all voted for the home. We've been over this. Joe had the number one tweet in the world, Giglio, that I wish I'd tweeted after Bobrovsky got jobbed.
Yeah.
Which is fast forward 20 years and Bobrovsky's not in the Hall of Fame because of a Conn Smythe vote involving Edmonton writers.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, just pitch perfect. You couldn't do any better. That was really, honestly, your tweetus morale.
Your finest work, Your finest.
Anyway,
I wish that was the Braxton Beverly. Let me bang out this quick legal update. I always thought that
anyway, the 06 Eric Staal was, as Colsey said, everything he touched turned to gold. And then 09, that team really did not really capture lightning in a bottle, but it was good. And then the stuff they pulled off in the playoffs and his goal against Brodeur in Game 7, the shock at the Rock. When he came back here for the Islanders game 2 against the Islanders, where they scored the second of 7 times in NHL history that's happened. Eric was watching from Dundon's box and came in the locker room afterward, and he and I had a long conversation about how weird it was for him to see this building, although that was in Newark, to see this building have that same sort of magic and aura that he fed upon as a player in the playoffs, to come here and watch it, see Jordan out there, but just to be on the outside and feel it, as opposed to he helped create that. We talk about what a great building this is and the way it is in the playoffs. Eric Staal played a big role in making that happen as a star, as a player, what the teams he played on did, what he did in difficult circumstances. And it did not end well. As Peter Laviolette once told me, Luke, it never ends well. Yeah. It did not end well for Eric Staal. But it's a little like Cam Ward when he went into the Hall of Fame, right? It gives you a chance to kind of put the bad stuff aside and remember why this guy was so popular in the first place. I thought Cam Ward's Hall of Fame ceremony and everything that led up to it was cathartic for him, for fans. This guy had, like Staal, borne the brunt of a lot of frustration, some of it deserved, some of it not deserved. And yet here you could take a step back and say, hey, this is why we loved you. This is why I loved the fans. I think it's going to be the same for Eric Staal. I think it'll be cathartic. And if people have forgotten how freaking good he was in 06 and 09, it'll be a reminder, because he deserves this honor. And not to quote Eric Cole again, but if there's a Hurricanes Mount Rushmore, he is the fourth person on it.
Yeah, he's on it. Yeah, he's definitely on it. You got anything?
No, I thought you did a really good job on the column, hitting all those points, and some of them I even forgot. The 100-point thing, I forgot.
100-point thing, yeah.
Like
again, we forgot how good he was in 2006.
We forgot, and you know what?
That part, but just the idea of because we, in today's context, right, Luke, we've spent a lot of this offseason talking about the Canes really need Svechnikov to be better, and Kotkaniemi to step up, and Natchez to step up, and it's like sometimes I see Eric Staal, I see a little bit of Aho, right? Like there's a little bit there where you're like, where is it? But think about it, Staal had that big season. I mean, we're still waiting for that 100-point season from Aho, which of course requires the help of other players to get there.
Before we go, can I tell my favorite Staal family anecdote? Because he kind of came in a media darling because of the brothers and the ice rink on the sod farm, and Henry and Linda and Jordan coming and Mark coming and Jared coming. All right. So the other thing, and I mentioned this in the column, is if Staal had gone number one if Florida hadn't flipped with Pittsburgh, and Florida takes Staal number one. Hurricanes probably would not have taken Fleury number two because they had Cam Ward, who they loved. They probably would have traded down and taken Zach Parise. So it probably would have worked out okay for them. He was number two on their board. Anyway, so that draft in Nashville, it's late at night, the night before the first round, and I'm with some writers in a bar, and one of the writers runs into some scouts that he knows. I didn't know any of these guys. We end up, 5 or 6 guys around a high top drinking beers, listening to music back before it became the Bachelorette party capital of the world. You could still go into Tootsie's and hear a band and not someone playing Kid Rock covers. So one of the scouts and I start talking, and I say, look, man, this is off the record, just for my curiosity. How good are these Staals? Like, is this legit? Like, it feels like a lot of that Ontario hype, center of the hockey universe bullshit. Like, are these kids really any good? And he goes, oh yeah, man. Like, Eric, future captain, great wingspan, character, is going to bulk out, high skill player, first line NHL player, future captain. Mark, huge wingspan, not like a super offensive guy, but he's going to be on your number one pairing, penalty kill, shutdown guy, maybe a Norris Trophy guy, great character, future captain. Jordan, bigger than Eric, stronger than Eric, not as high a skill level, same compete level, future captain. He's going to be a great player. Now, remember, Jordan was like 16 at the time. And I was like, and he's like, yeah, man, that family, they're legit. And I was like, what about Jordan, the youngest, who was like 13? He goes, he's lazy.
Jared. Yeah.
Poor Jared. And I'm not saying that Jared was lazy. I'm just saying that hockey scouting and the way that this stuff works is hilarious, that they'd already passed judgment on the fourth Staal at 13. I don't know. I guess they're right. Yeah. And he was totally dismissive of the question. He's like, he's lazy. Like, why are you even mentioning it?
Although that tracks having a 13-year-old now. I know how these evaluation things go. But not that I have any designs on Jacob making the NHL, but that's another conversation of the day. All right, man. Appreciate the insight on the PNC update, because I know yesterday Doug Wharf, the new president, and Brian Fork, the CEO,
it's a big day tomorrow.
Like they were kind of hedging on, like, we could talk about all these big picture things, but I can't get into specifics. We'll find out more in this meeting. I guess we have much more clarity on where things are going.
Yeah, the images are up on our website, and just to be clear, this has nothing to do with any of the development outside the arena. No,
right. Yeah,
very protective of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard
all right, guys. Appreciate it.
The parking decks, got to protect them.
Wait, what do they call it? Parking concepts?
Parking concepts. New parking concepts.
New parking concepts.
Yes.
Don't say deck.
Don't say deck. So the Wolfpack Club's going to light your house on fire.
Crazy. All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys.
I don't know. Maybe they'll put it in the legal work. When you talk about the parking decks, you have to refer to them as parking concepts. And Whitaker and Hamer can knock all that language out. Check them out. wh.lawyer. We're going to be headed to Greensboro next week.
Yes.
That means we have a 1-year anniversary of you getting caught for speeding on the way to Sedgefield.
I drove last week, incident free.
Meeting.
Are we driving together to Sedgefield next week? What time are we going?
Same time we did last year.
I don't even remember that.
I feel like we got there. We got the lay of the land. But I hooked up the iced coffee machine into my veins.
And then you're going to be on that transfusion, aren't you?
No.
Okay.
I'm still trying to recover from Sunday.
Yeah, you got another week. So check out Whitaker and Hamer, wh.lawyer. We're talking about parking concepts. They were talking about all the new construction that's going up, and you want to
housing
and everything else. Hey, Hometown Realty. I was driving through downtown Raleigh yesterday, and I saw some Hometown Realty signs on some old houses on Boylan. I don't know what they're going to be doing with those, but maybe you want to inquire. Check them out, myhtr.com. And we were just taking a huge hockey break, ladies and gentlemen. It's all brought to you by Happy and Hale. Check them out. Download the app. We're going to be at Happy and Hale in a couple of weeks out in the Six Forks location. It'll be a lot of fun.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
I'm going to get the Burger Bowl in 2 weeks. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you have a cola? You kind of spaced out there.
No. I was ready for the. I didn't know if we were lightning or we were going to the Hey Joe's.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, it's here, Joe. My football almanac. We can officially start the football season. We also have preseason football tonight, Hall of Fame game, which means
It's time.
it's time.
Tell your family.
It's time to tell your wife, hey, preseason football's on, honey. You ain't going to see me until February.
Yep. I'll check in with you until when the Super Bowl ends. Nice knowing you. Don't bother me.
But I brought a friend over. Don't
Nope.
care.
Mm-mm.
I got to watch the Bears and the Texans. I got to see if CJ Stroud is going to follow up his awesome rookie season tonight in maybe one series of football. I got to see if Caleb Williams really is that dude.
Need to see what color his nails are for this game.
Can I get that on DraftKings?
Potentially.
Here, let me look.
I took the first half under. I put a bet on this game.
You're a sicko, dude. You're a sicko. DraftKings is not officially back on with us until the real start of the football season.
Right.
So, I just pulled up the app real quick just to see what is available on NFL preseason. And
first half total is 15.5.
right now, the Houston Texans are -2.
The money is moving towards the Texans.
Yeah, -2 is -110.
It's -1.5 this morning.
Hey,
what's the total at? Because
next Thursday we're going to be your official Panthers at Patriots preseason pregame.
Yeah, the total was dropped to 30.5. It opened at 32.
Panthers
at
plus
right
plus 1.5 is -110.
Okay, but what's the total for tonight's game?
The total
On
for
DraftKings.
tonight's game, it's over 31.5 is -115. Under 31.5 is -105.
Ooh, juicy.
If you say so.
I like it.
Oh well, poor Jess. You're like, no, Jess.
Nuh-uh.
Nope. I'm sorry.
No, man.
I don't even want to hear from you. I'm sorry. All I hear is ESPN, ABC. I don't hear you. Family, enjoy the fall. You're going. You're going to get a pumpkin somewhere? Nope, not interested because I gotta watch SMU versus
week
Georgia
0.
Tech or something.
Yeah, Paul, take the under first half.
Let's see what do we got here from Thomas. Looking forward to listening to your pregame from the lots at Gillette Stadium next Wednesday. No, we will not. That's Wednesday. Why did I say Thursday? We'll be in Greensboro for that. That's where people do that stuff. Anyway, I joked about that, but that's part of a very football focused lightning round. So let's see what. Wait, hold on a second. Let me stop.
How is a lightning
I
round?
got discombobulated on the StreamYard.
Lightning round.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
I wanted to surprise you with that one. Brian came through on this one.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
That scratches a particular itch from 17-year-old me, who was super into Rancid back in the day. We got kickoff rules. If you actually are watching preseason football tonight, wake up, Joe. Wake up. You should be, dude, you should be pantless, stroking it because we got preseason football tonight. How are you sleepy?
Because I gotta be awake for kickoff.
Oh, is that we got to take a nap for the 8 o'clock kickoff tonight?
I see hot in my eyes.
You are yawning on a day like today, where we get to see the new kickoff rules in effect for real? On a day like today, Joe?
Those are gonna be good.
How are you yawning? Football's back.
I actually do want to see how Naheem does with these new kickoff rules.
So if you're not familiar, essentially what the NFL is doing is taking the concept from the XFL where the kicker will be
Kicker
I think, at the
stays where he
30-yard
was.
line. I think the kicker's at the 30-yard line. The defense will line up. The team that is kicking, the defense will line up on the opposing team's 40-yard line.
Yep.
And you got to sit there stationary
until the person
catches the ball.
Yes.
And then essentially what they're trying to mimic is a play from the line of scrimmage. So once the guy catches the ball in the catch zone, it will then, all right, you can now start hitting each other. And the opposing team, the team that's receiving the ball, will have a lineup zone. So essentially they have a 5-yard buffer to line up any way that they want.
Yeah, and the touchbacks are all different now too. So
Yeah, and all of this is to
the
make
fair
sure
catch is gone. The fair catch, get the ball at the 25 is gone.
this is essentially their one and only way to preserve the kickoff in football without completely getting rid of it. That's what this is.
Yeah, it's an interesting workaround. Like I said, I'm interested to see how Naheem, a specialist, does with this.
We'll see what happens.
It's the lightning round. It's time for the lightning round.
You didn't quite hit that one, but I appreciate the effort.
Well, we are also trying to make sure that we don't get flagged on YouTube for that.
I
one.
know.
That one's very, very close. Speaking of preseason, enjoy your preseason. I can't believe you're yawning for preseason because this might be the last kind of preseason we ever see.
Oh, right,
Because we're inching closer to the 18-game schedule. Some things to clarify on the 18-game schedule. 2030 is when the current CBA expires. When they knocked out this collective bargaining agreement, they agreed to the NFL not just saying, hey, guess what, guys? We're
playing
going 18 games. Like, they can't do that. It has to be an agreed upon thing between the NFLPA and the NFL. So they're trying to add the incentives to get to 18 games closer in the schedule versus 2030. And Roger Goodell's been talking about taking another preseason game off the book so that you would end up with 2 preseason games. And actually, at this point, you might as well do it because everything I ever hear from the coaches now is that they prefer these joint practices. They get more value out of the joint practices rather than the dog and pony show of a preseason game, which is really there just to sell tickets. And as you can see in the stands, ain't nobody there for the preseason games.
Well, they bake in the ticket sales to their season ticket package. So it's just a matter of who's actually showing up, NC State basketball style.
Yeah, that's true.
The lightning round.
Still be the best.
I mean, look,
Although the Bruce one,
the Bruce one's very, look,
so good.
the time bomb one might be my new favorite. It's happening. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but the Russell Wilson, I'm rejuvenated. I'm locked in.
Oh, is he in the best shape of his life?
I'm in the best shape of my life. I've hit the reset button.
Yes.
Are you ready
I am.
for completely delusional Russell Wilson time in Pittsburgh?
Was it Mark Schlereth who called it toxic positivity?
Yes, it is toxic
in
positivity.
Denver.
Yes. Well, it's toxic positivity in combination with just straight up asshole Sean Payton. When those two things get together, it is not going to end well. And you know how
I had
Russell
never
is.
heard of that concept before, but
What, toxic positivity?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a real thing.
it is. I think he personifies that.
They're trying to make some sort of QB. There's two. Russell Wilson kind of ties into what we see with New England as well. They're trying to promote some sort of QB battle in Pittsburgh between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And
Sure.
like Russell Wilson's in the pole position, so to speak.
Well,
for,
that's Tomlin. Yeah.
but yeah, you don't bring Russell there if you're Mike Tomlin without actually having him be the starter. That's what it's there for. That's what he's there for. Justin Fields might be a guy you get in the system for a couple more years and you see what happens. So that's the way that I view it. And the same thing happens with Drake May and Jacoby Brissett up in New England. I'm not quite sure what we're really getting at here with acting as though Drake May is not going to be your week 1 starter. Love Jacoby, don't get me wrong. But what?
No,
Should I just hit the music?
No. I can understand their position with Jacoby in like holding down the fort.
Yeah.
But to your point, the Patriots are in a hard reset. They're not in a situation where, let's bring this guy back.
Okay, I got
and try to like tread water until our, the guy we've chosen number 3 in the draft becomes the star.
Mhm.
Like, I think they're in a hard reset. And I think they're looking at the Panthers last year
Mhm.
and saying, would we have been better off protecting Bryce Young rather than throwing him out there? Are we better off protecting Drake May
Yeah.
rather than throwing him out here? For a long time, there's been questions about the read option and the way that Carolina runs their offense. That was one of the big knocks on Sam Howell. So how does he make this jump? How does he make this adjustment? And also, he is your long-term investment, Drake May. So how do you protect him? How do you put him in the best position for success?
Okay.
Because they still don't have great skill players.
But I also
Right?
don't think we're going to see coaching malpractice out of Gerard Mayo than we saw with Frank Reich in
No,
Carolina.
but Jared Mayo's got to be of the Ron Rivera, Steve Wilkes ilk
Fair.
of, hey, I know we're not going to be good. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to play our ass off on defense and we're going to run the football. And I just need the quarterback not to turn the ball over and or pull a Joe Flacco and just arm punt when we're taking shots deep instead of actively hurting us with turnovers. So I could see that mindset from New England as opposed to like the Trevor Lawrence year with Urban Meyer or, you know, even some of these other decisions that we see with the Bears, for example. You know?
It's a lightning round. It's the lightning round.
So we have made fun of Matt Rule at Nebraska for many, many years because speaking of the Panthers, it was like, all you got to do is go out there and just, you know, we're going to find the next Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's really easy to do.
That's how we're going to solve our quarterback situation. We're going to draft the next Patrick Mahomes.
So it looks like Matt Rule, thanks to Paul, went out and got himself Dollar Store General Matt Rule or Patrick Mahomes. Trending 5-star Nebraska quarterback Dylan Raiola showed up for camp looking exactly like Patrick Mahomes. Look at that picture, Joe. He's got the Patrick Mahomes hair. He's got those ridiculous sunglasses on, the pit vipers, and he's looking just like Patrick Mahomes. So maybe that's what Matt Rule is actually going to do.
Maybe he knew all along.
He's got to dupe Patrick Mahomes. I can't afford that.
Etsy.
I cannot afford that Gucci Mickey Mouse sweater that is $5,000, but I can find a dupe on Etsy. So here we go.
Yeah.
That's a like what happened to that's a Amazon a bunch of letters version of Patrick Mahomes. I had to buy a dehumidifier today. You don't know anything about Amazon. You've never purchased anything on Amazon.
I don't.
Which is hilarious to me. So I had to go buy a new dehumidifier because the one that I had finally croaked. And there are so many dehumidifiers or products that just have a bunch of weird letters to them. I don't know where they come from. That's that Patrick Mahomes right there.
Can't wait for year 2 Matt Rule to go 7-6 and claim victory. I cannot wait.
I am ready for it.
We've got a lot to get to. It's a lightning round.
It's so good. It's so good. Almost as good as a Rowback polo. Almost. Go to rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20. Save 20% off your order. I said I was going to do it. I haven't done it yet, but I need to. I got to order some black shorts from Rowback so that the next time I work Walnut Creek, I am within compliance for the attire.
Oh.
I also found out that as team manager, I got to wear khakis and polo.
What are you wearing? Khakis.
Thanks, Jake from State Farm.
She sounds hideous.
Well, thanks, Jake from Matt Davis. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go to rowback.com and purchase some comfy pants.
Good call. I got the pants
and a
recently.
polo.
They were delightful.
I think they brought back the North State one, the little North Carolina one.
Okay.
I think they brought that one back. At least I got the email that they brought it back. So go check that out, rowback.com. Use that promo code OG20. And speaking of khakis, I bet Matt Davis is wearing khakis right now with his State Farm red polo. Check him out. InsureGarner.com, TheOGInsurance.com, 919-779-8277. So you can save on your home and auto. Again, that's 919-779-8277. All right, let's get out of here on some Hey Joe questions. It is brought to you by Crank Arm. Check them out, crankarmbrewing.com. We really enjoyed our time over at Crank Arm for the OG Summer Jam on Sunday. Joe is still recovering from that. So you're good though now?
I played some pickleball yesterday.
Look at you.
Got a little sweat going.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, so before we go to the YouTube comment section, I believe we did get a call to the OG sports phone on some pronunciations, which also means...
yeah, I had a lot of people.
Which also means we have yet another song. You ready, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just heard news today. The team is cooked. What would Joe say? Sports goes wide open.
Sports phone is wide open. Let's see what we got here.
Hey, I heard y'all talking about towns that you can't pronounce, and I think you were trying to say Ahoskie. My dad went to high school there, and he talks about Ahoskie all the time. So just wanted y'all to know that's how it's pronounced. Thanks.
Yes, multiple people have reached out to me. Ahoskie.
What did you say? I couldn't remember.
Ahoskie.
Oh, like Sebastian Ahoskie?
Like, yeah, you can't win the cup without a hoe. Yeah.
Fair enough.
It was Julian in Ahoskie.
I got
Ahoskie.
Ahoskie. It's Ahoskie. I don't need more OG Sports
No,
phone.
he even sent me the pronunciation.
From Jake on Twitter, catching up on the pod in the Devil's deck at Wallace Wade. Back when I was growing up, back in my day, we didn't need a kids zone. My friends and I would just run around Duke student tailgates while our dads were a few tenths and a few tens of fans were suffering through the game. Yeah, I remember that one of the sells when I had just first moved here of going to a Duke football game was you would get an entire section to yourself. If you got something when the kids were younger too, and you just wanted to get out and maybe do a tailgate, Wallace Wade was sneaky good for a tailgate. I'm not even talking about what used to be the student tailgate, the parking lots and how legendary those were. But yeah, if you just wanted your kids to climb up and down the section, they could because there was nobody there. So yeah, back in my day, we walked uphill both ways in the snow.
Gave Philly Joe a shout there.
Oh yeah, he did. I saw that he did that. We had a lot of reaction to our conversation with Doug Wharf and Brian Fork of the Carolina Hurricanes, the president and CEO, respectively. From Mr. C11, there is no universe where building retail, restaurants, and housing in the area they are targeting in which it makes NC State football better. That's just nuts. You are going to be pushing out a ton of people with existing spaces when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree. I understand there is that thought that you have to protect every parking space over there with like grim death. But the truth of the matter is there are ways to improve, and not everyone goes to the games the same way.
That's the point you've been hammering.
Ultimately, and not everyone goes to the games the same way. And I'll be honest with you, just like UNC is leaving money on the table with the dilapidated state of the Smith Center, NC State, those parking tickets have been relatively cheap. And now I know there's going to be somebody who's like a row away going to tell me, Giglio, you want to pick up the tab this year? But what I'm saying is relatively.
I got you.
You know what I mean? Like you could, the price of that brick is going up.
Yeah.
We already know that. But for a lot of years, they've left money on the table by charging the prices that they are. And I know there's a whole Wolfpack Club ladder and everything else involved in there. What I'm straight up telling you is in the laws of supply and demand, there's X amount of spaces and there's 2X number of people who are willing to be in those spaces. So you could charge more and they are going to charge more. And ultimately, yes, once some of this area is developed, and again, I will reserve my judgment once I see the actual plans and our conversations yesterday with the Hurricanes and their new front office, they are very sensitive. Tom Dundon is as well, to any renderings that come out that are not very specific and are not going to be where the parking deck or the new parking concepts are going to be or anything else. Because the truth of the matter is, one of the things I learned during last year during the outdoor game was there are a lot of spots around that building that can be redeveloped that will not impact NC State football or basketball. But again, the central premise of not everyone tailgates the same way or has that same game day experience, you have to think of some of those other people. And I think your situation can remain the same. And I do think it was Brian, right, who had said, yeah, if you're a recruit and you got parents, like they don't know who to tailgate with. You know how many times I've been at Steve Young's tailgate in the RV lot where we've had a player's parent, Joe Selfo's dad. Oh yeah. You know, who was friends with Tony Gonzalez. And you know, all of a sudden you got Tony Gonzalez over there. Peyton Wilson's parents for that last 2 years, I think had an RV over there. So, you know, not everyone's situation is the same. And if you're coming in from out of town and you want to watch your kid, yeah, guess what? You'd love to stay at a hotel right across the street, walk across the street, not have to worry about parking, not worrying about the 5 hour or the 4 hour rule, whatever the hour is, 5,
now,
right?
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing, and I think that will be the compromise. These bars will be open all the time. These other places are going to be open all the time. Well, once you do that, you can't tell people you can't congregate somewhere. You can't set an artificial time limit once you have established that you're allowed to congregate.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
That is true.
So, and you're offering different ways to congregate as well. So, take a half a step back on this. I'm really talking to Steve right now, and he's the one who has this unbelievable tailgate situation.
Yeah,
he just doesn't understand that not everybody has that set up, and even the people who come and tailgate with him. Like even Steve,
wait.
You know that's not even really Steve's parking spot. Steve has to park somewhere else.
I know,
right?
I know.
So, what is the difference between parking somewhere else and parking? Let's just say, what if they put the parking deck over by the fairgrounds? Because it would actually benefit the state there as well.
Yeah, for the fair itself,
right?
Wait, are you telling me that the concept of me and my friends think this isn't a good measure of sentiment?
Across the board,
the people that I hang out with aren't watching the Olympics. Cool,
right?
Cool. Still waiting for the NFL to go out of business. Let's go back to the YouTube. Dave, as someone who sat in traffic for more than 3 hours getting to the outdoor game, getting it out of the arena can be an absolute problem. Also, that Martin Middle slander from Brian is totally uncalled for.
And I want to be clear too, because
we have to be really, really clear about Stadium Series.
The outdoor game was run by the NHL and NC State.
Yes.
Okay. Now, but let's take that out of this equation just for a second. You made the point that you could be there in the third period of a regular old hockey game.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a tipping point where you have to realize if I don't leave now, there is 25 minutes of wait in the parking lot to get out, if not more. If not more.
This is the blessing and the curse of the media parking.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I have to be completely upfront and I have to remain consistent on what I've said about this. And I believe this to be true, that everybody in our business that has media credentials and gets media parking and everything else should
have to
be obligated to go to your sporting events as a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And there's a blessing and a curse that comes with some of those VIP lots. So if I use the media tag to park where we typically park, and we're doing media things, as in we're going to the locker room, we're doing something else, and by the time I get to my car,
then you can leave.
Then I can leave because most people are cleared out.
Yeah.
But if I'm there with my family and I happen to get a similar parking spot, and if I don't leave before that final horn, if I stick around for the storm surge or whatever in a playoff game, well, let me tell you, because nobody knows how to freaking zipper. That's the other problem as well. Like there's a common courtesy thing, and they got people going over the medians. They're cutting over the mulch. They don't know how to zipper in and out. I mean, I've seen some crazy shit to get out of the PNC Arena of a regular hockey game.
And part of that too, they do let you exit on that Wade Avenue, but obviously there should be more ways in and out of the space. And I think that's
what they're working on.
To your point, Doug and Brian have said, hey, now Doug in particular, the last 7 years saying, it's been a little bit of a different experience for me as a fan. And
Yes,
it is. It's the same for me, man. These are things I've learned the last 3 years.
Let's see. We got from James. There are some OG fans that are committed to the Hornets. I know.
Hey, don't you forget now.
From Doug, folks in the triangle take it for granted, but Fuquay Varina stumps everybody else. Yeah, I can see where they don't quite understand how to say Fuquay or even Varina for that matter. And then from John, Nashville, Tennessee is going to be the team that gets MLB expansion. I don't know who will get the other MLB expansion team. Las Vegas would rather have an expansion team than the A's. Yeah, Nashville, to your point, John, we had a lot of reaction to the conversation about baseball. Look, we'll close on this. I like what Tom Dundon's doing. I've always said if you want these things to happen, you have to have a motivated billionaire to do these things. He is a motivated billionaire that wants to do this. Are there some realities that prevent Raleigh from truly being in the mix? Yeah, there are. And sometimes I think Major League Baseball gets a little too caught up in the shiny object of the market they want to go to rather than going to a market that might actually fit right for them. I think the Carolina Hurricanes are a prime example of that. People are like, are you crazy to put a hockey team here? They win, they thrive. It's been good. I think baseball could be the same way. But Nashville might be the kind of town they really want to go to because it does avoid to a certain extent some of the some of the territorial issues that baseball is very concerned with, like the Nats, the Orioles, and the Atlanta Braves. This is something to consider.
Yeah, I think it was our friend Brian Murphy who had asked, would they be open to a team that relocated? And my money feels like that's more of a reality than the actual expansion process, only because if you do put someone in Nashville, you're likely to be more inclined to put something on the West Coast.
Yep. That makes total sense. And as far as the questions about, I got a lot of things about minor league baseball. I've been told time and time again that minor league baseball is a completely different product, a completely different experience at a different price point, and that they can both be successful at the same time. So it would not necessarily affect other minor league ballparks in the area. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for an OG Live. Thanks to everybody who's watching. Thanks for everybody who's in the comments. Thanks to everybody who throws us 5 stars on their favorite podcast platform. And of course, if you're not following us on YouTube, come on, just hit that subscribe button, hit the likes, leave the comments, all that stuff. And we will see you next week.